You are listening to the Nyx Archive, the official Relic RPG actual play podcast. You can play Relic absolutely free right now by going to relicrpg.com. Hello and welcome back to the Nyx Archive, the official Relic RPG actual play show. I am your host and game master, C.D. Corrigan. How's it going? As always, I am joined by Miss Maddie Hammond.
Hello.
And Miss Marissa Montero.
Hi.
Wow.
Being normal today.
Yeah,
Being normal
neither
today.
one of them, no one did a bit. No one did a bit. I'm shocked and amazed.
Keeping it fresh, keeping you on your toes.
I am suspicious, dear listener. I don't trust them at all.
And he shouldn't.
I was going to say, nor should he.
No. All right. Well, on that alarming note, let's begin. First things first, bit of housekeeping. Our characters have leveled up to level 3. Huzzah! We're not going to do a whole breakdown like we did the first time we leveled up with the characters, but could you two go ahead and read off the new feature you have both gotten?
Marissa, do you want to go first?
Sure. So at level 3, as a necromancer, I can now raise complex undead. This means I may raise thralls that match simple undead monsters. You can go check out the undead monsters page on Relic to see how many cool things that means.
It keeps growing.
It keeps growing. There's so many undead to be. The thralls require a corpse that matches their size. Slain undead monsters, if usable, can only be raised as the same type of monster using this ability. Each requires 1 enthrallment slot per 5 health. So if the health is 10, then it takes 2 enthrallment slots. And you must touch the target corpse and use an action to raise them. This costs 2 mana per enthrallment slot.
So, how many slots do you have right now, Marissa? Did we say? Is it
I
2?
have 2. I have 2.
Okay.
At level 3, I have 2 slots.
You have 2 slots. At level 4, that'll go up again. At level 5, there's another feature where it goes up again. Necromancers really start to run away when they're a major class. You wind up with like 20 or 30 slots by the end if you make different choices. So that's fun. That's fun for me. Maddie, what's Farah packing now?
At level 3, I get to choose one between bind objects and sympathetic resonance. And I chose bind objects, which as an action, I can touch 2 objects or 1 object in a spot on the ground. Those objects now exhibit a slight attraction towards one another, enough so that one will indicate the direction of the other if allowed to hang from a string, float in liquid, or something similar. Objects remain bound in this way until I use an action to break the connection. So any Harry Dresden readers out there, scrying for people is a thing.
Yeah, Farah can basically make a dowsing rod now. So both of our characters have gained a new feature at level 3 for leveling up. They've also gained an increase in their mana and stamina, just as the math of the character sheet. That's how that works. So you'll see them kind of throwing around a few extra resources as we go. And go we shall. Last we left off, Skink and Farah had bid farewell to Tula and Orlo, and, of course, dear Barry, who were crossing after... well, you guys were going to camp within the frozen river within the mountain, as I believe we left it. It's been a couple weeks, folks. Tula, Orlo, and Barry were heading back to their previous base camp to start making an ascent up the mountain and potentially meet them at the top. You two had entered the hidden river within Mount Ciro, bid farewell to Orlo and Tula, who were going to ascend the mountain on the exterior while you came up the more cramped, too small to accommodate centaurs and a Barith, shortcut that a mysterious figure, person, entity, spirit had shown you, and hopefully save some time. We're going to pick up right there. You guys are a couple of yards into the entrance of the cave. We can say that you rested there for the night if that's what you wanted to do. Give Orlo and Tula a chance to start up the mountain. They do have the longer path ahead of them. And then we'll say we pick up the next day. Would you like to go ahead and roll for Pip in this dark sunless, sun disappearing. Yeah. We did establish, I'll put this out at the outset because I don't know what's going to make the cut in the last episode. We did establish as a goblin with a tunnel sense feature that Skink should have the ability to more or less tell what time of day it is, even underground. Who wants odds or evens?
I'll take odds.
We're so in sync. This is incredible. I did, in fact, roll a 1. So who was odds? Maddie?
To Matty.
Matty. Pip, as you've come out of the cold and out of the driving wind and snow, Pip makes his way over to Farah Mother. Having, while out on the ice, not really wanted to leave Skink's protective covering, but now inside, Mother. And kind of burrows into your hood as you start the morning. You guys wake up and have not much to do but eat breakfast and ascend. Any preparations, or do we just getting straight to it?
I think now, because of the way the last couple nights have gone, Skink would start the morning while they have their breakfast by asking Farah, "Did you have any dreams last night?"
I don't know, GM, did we have any dreams?
Not spontaneously, but if anyone would like to try something, we've had some attempts in the past. It's always an option. You now know the name of the entity that was watching you.
Yeah.
That is a thing that was learned after your conversation with Zero. So.
Should I roll, cleverness to see if I remember any dreams last night?
Let me put it this way. This is one of those weird esoteric squishy things where it's like, what would you do as your character? Like, what would Skink have done to try and influence interacting with this? Because it's not as simple as like doing a thing and stuff happens. So it's like, can you get this entity's attention? Can you have an interaction? So like, what would you have attempted to do? And we'll see what checks or multiple checks would come out of that.
I don't think Skink would have done anything on purpose, especially because like last time, the night before, Skink wasn't sure what to do, picked a bone about it, and then was like, okay, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to bed.
Yeah.
And it's gonna stick with that impulse, gonna stick with that line of reasoning.
That's
and
fair.
It's just going to bed and is not gonna ask for anything. And the last time Skink went up to a wall, things happened. And so Skink's just like, well, I'm just gonna keep to myself for a minute.
Farah, your end, anything?
I believe I prayed to Nyx to get the dream that told us the time of day and the vision of the cave. So I think at this point, Farah probably feels like she was told what she needed to know.
Okay.
And would not ask for more.
Okay, beautiful.
So in the morning, during this conversation, Skink will ask, like, did you remember any dreams? And it's just like,
no,
easy,
I think I had a restful night.
Yeah. It's like I blacked out. Now it's
turns out being
time
in a
to
cave
move.
where it's really dark helps.
Yeah.
Bad for your circadian rhythm, but it really puts
you
you to
really
sleep.
didn't want to wake up, right?
So, the mouth of the cave, still night outside, but this faint glow of the borealis in the starry night sky is visible as a window frame in the darkness that now surrounds you. You both have dark vision, thankfully. Pip, I don't believe, does, so he's really just hanging out in the hood. He's like,
guy.
Don't love this. Mother. Mother. It's a loyal bird to follow you into a cave.
Truly.
This picture of the starry night sky behind you, because again, always dark in the mornings up here. And before you, stretching at an angle up into the depths of the mountain, is a sheet of ice, rock and ice, a frozen runoff. You wouldn't call it a river down here necessarily, but there is certainly a sheen of frost over everything, like snow doesn't really make its way in and up a mountain. This is water that is coming down, both filtered through the rocks and probably from some source further and higher up the slope, far, far removed. What are we doing? How are we approaching this? Just hiking on through?
How slippery is it?
Go ahead and make a precision check for me.
Ooh.
Actually, here's what we'll do. Both of you, for this first, there's not a lot of like deviation from the path that is possible in this first area, right?
Yeah.
So both of you go ahead and make 3 precision checks for me.
Wow.
Your goal, cumulatively, each of you wants to get a 25 between all 3 of them.
I did not.
Okay. How'd you do?
I got an 18.
16 plus 9 is 25.
Oftentimes 25.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Skink, you are at home here. Maybe a bit colder, maybe a bit slipperier. Tunnels always felt right to you. You've got this down. You scamper up. It's a hard hike. Like, this is like a rocky uphill backcountry hike, except also underground in tight spaces where you have to squeeze and shuffle and take your pack off and push it through and then put it back on and then crawl. And it's cold and it's wet. But you're a goblin. You've done this. You've done this many times. You scamper your way through for a while. We'll say you guys are doing this like all day, effectively. About 4 hours in, you look back and realize Farah is not behind you anymore.
Oh, no!
Farah,
Yes.
you're not sure at what point in this slog. You are 600 pounds. Underground is not an unfamiliar territory to you.
Sure,
You are a
sure.
gnome,
Right.
but you are a 600-pound gnome in an unworked tunnel. You've been to underground cities. You've been to underground magnificent palaces and rooms and working areas and factories and all sorts of things. You've spent your time underground. It's not the underground that bothers you. It's tight. It's slippery. Things move. When you put a 600-pound woman on top of a rock that slips in the shale and ice, she falls. You are dragging your way into and up this incline in the dark. And at some point you look up and realize Skink is not there.
Neat.
Neither of you are sure how far away the other one is. I will say I'm going to roll something. Ooh. Sorry. Where's my...
Special. Oh my god, the big one!
The big one.
For those listening at home, I have just pulled out a spherical D100.
Takes like a minute for it to start. Oh, wait, that wasn't that bad.
In the box, it's not too bad. Okay. I know how far apart you guys are. You are out of earshot of one another easily. This is not a quiet tunnel. There's water runoff. There's rock. There's a lot of obstacles and like always kind of this perpetual sound of like flowing water and creaking ice. So it may not be that you're miles apart. It's just that you can't easily hear one another wherever you are.
Fuck.
What do you do?
Well, I feel like one of the things that Skink would try first is like stomping. Like, you know, the way that rabbits, they thump the ground to signal to each other. Skink would try that first. I know you're saying that it's too far away. And I guess also Skink would be like really wondering what the fuck happened to her, because I have tunnel sense, so usually I notice when I'm alone or not. But I think I must have been like really I must have been like in the zone of moving and just assuming that you were following me, and then like suddenly became aware that I was alone when I like checked in. So I don't know how far away you are, but I would try like thumping first and seeing, and then waiting. Thumping and waiting, thumping and then waiting to see if anything comes back.
So I had not been considering tunnel sense, but that is an excellent point. So here's what we'll do to kind of, because I want to honor that ability as well. You've made that choice. You should get something for it. Farrah, you rolled 18, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Skink, go ahead and roll an additional D12. We're going to add it to Farrah's score. Don't add your precision. This is just going to be flat.
6.
6. So 18 plus 6 brings us up to
24.
Whew. Skink, you do clock you lost Farrah sometime in the last 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
So you know it's not like you lost her this morning.
For minor enchantment, I can apply... Wait, hold on. Where is it? Make the target baffle to a whisper or amplify to a shout all sounds passing through it. Can I do that to my hands?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I don't know.
Wear
that
gloves or, there's a million ways to solve that, yeah.
Okay. So I don't know that she can't hear me, but I'm going to try it. So I'm going to use minor enchantment on my gloves to shout for Skink.
Go ahead and make... We're going to say a might check on this one for shouting. Feels right. But what I want you to do is double your might when you add it. This is one of those things where, like, if you guys were standing in an open field, this would work no problem. It's just the geometry and weirdness of the specific place that you're kind of combating.
That is a 12.
A 12 with double your might on it?
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh. Hey then. Skink, I need a precision check. You're shooting for 18. I was taking 30 and subtracting whatever Farrah got.
8 plus 2 is 10.
Don't hear.
Can I try another enchantment?
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of those things where you've got time to like try a bunch of things, but for the sake of game mechanics, if you keep trying the same thing, the check's just going to get higher and higher.
Sure. This is different though. So I don't hear anything. Farrah is paused. She's been struggling. She's going to try something. I can apply a near frictionless coating to a target or make it as sticky as tree sap.
Okay.
I want to try to do this to my shoes.
Okay.
So that I can walk with more grip.
Right. All right.
Cool.
I don't know if that makes it harder since I'm heavy, but she's going to try it.
I think that's a very clever use of that ability. And you can also like expand that to be like, because you can keep recasting it, right? You could do it on your shoes. You could do it on your gloves. You could do it all sorts of things. Very interesting. All right. I'm going to ask you for another. No, that is well done. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. Which is higher, your might or your precision?
Might.
Okay. Make 3 might checks, shooting for 25.
That's 13 plus 7 plus 7. 13 plus 14.
Yeah, beautiful. So 27. Okay. You've struggled your way. It's not that Farrah is not athletic enough to get up this climb. It is that it is technical, tricky, and precarious. But by applying this sticky coating, you basically superpowered your climbing gear here. You are able to turn this to your advantage. You're able to turn this into an athletic contest once more. Farrah starts scrambling up and rapidly making up time. Skink, you sit there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Start thinking about going back. Here's the problem with going back. If you go down a side tunnel that you missed on the way, you know tunnel sense. Like if you go down the wrong way, you'll never find each other again. It's better to stay on the route. And as you're thinking about all of this, you have this just sort of sense like something in the air has changed. Something in the acoustics of the like very baseline ambient noise in this place is different. And after a moment, oh, okay. Farrah's coming. Farrah scrambles up with renewed strength and vigor, coming up the frozen sheet of water. This is like the area you're sitting in right now, Skink, without even realizing it. You're basically on a giant, like, slate slab that is covered in black ice. Like, that's kind of the environment you find yourself in. And you see Farah coming up, and as she, like, plants her boot or puts her hand down for a handhold, not only does the weight of your gnomish companion crack that ice that has been there since primordial times at this point, but she is just visibly hauling herself up, almost like bouldering now, instead of like your scramble. And you guys rejoin one another.
I have a suggestion.
Yes?
I don't like getting separated from you in the dark.
No, I'm so sorry that I went faster than you. I should have slowed down. I should have stayed with you. I didn't realize you were that far behind me. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. This is a different underground than I'm used to. This is definitely your element, not mine. That's okay. I have an idea.
Yes.
Let's use bind objects. I want to touch you, and I want to touch me. We now exhibit a slight attraction towards one another. Enough
like,
so that
like actual magnets, just like the body's just zing.
Oh, the fan fiction.
Oh no. Oh no. You ruined it. Anyway. Is that okay? Am I allowed to do that, GM?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Well,
I think technically it might be objects, but you could just be like your shirt, my
say,
shirt. Either way. Like that's one of those things where like, ooh, technically, but also there's 1,000 ways to get around that restriction, so it doesn't really matter.
I love the idea that Farah being made of iron is just this like dense magnetic like substance.
Yeah.
And that as soon as you bind, Skink just sort of like is like stuck to you. Like whatever metallic piece, like bits of iron in my blood are just like pulled right to you.
Yeah, Skink, you do notice as Farah casts this little working of magic, there is this like, it's very subtle, but if you sit and concentrate on it, there is this very slight like lean, sort of like almost like you would imagine a homing pigeon knows where north is. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, that way.
Yeah.
What's nice about that ability, I don't believe it has a range of limit on that.
It does not specify one.
So like you just sort of have this like whoop, arrows that way.
Yeah.
You have to kind of sit and like, it would be hard to keep up with if you were in an avalanche falling down a mountain or something. That'll never happen.
Sure.
But in terms of like, if you take a moment and are like, okay, you can infallibly, it's very similar to how like Zero gave you the sense of like where the entrance to this place was.
Cool. Okay, cool. I think Skink is also racked with some level of guilt, like a low grade guilt for going too far, and let's see how that plays out in the episode. Let's
Love it.
You guys continue onward up this, in this portion of the tunnel, very slick precipice of just this icy sheet. It's almost like a slide the whole way down for several hundred more yards. But with Farah's reapplication of enchanter magic and Skink's just baseline goblin handling of tunnels, familiarity and whatnot, less of an issue for you two. You crest the top of this underground cliff and find yourself like coming over what is effectively, you know those I can't imagine what they're called right now, not a dike, but the those low head dams that they have in some rivers where like the water goes straight over the top in like a continuous sheet.
Yes.
There's a word for that and I can't remember what they are. It doesn't matter. You come over effectively what is a natural version of that. Like that's what this stone slab has been that you've been climbing up. You realize as you come over the top, and it's just that like whenever this water was liquid last, it just barely ran down the surface of this thing. And as you come over the ridgeline of it, you are looking out into a frozen underground lake. Like you can hear like a little bit of trickling of like meltwater from somewhere that is making its way, like filtering through the rock into this room, but like you are looking out over an internal surface of ice that had filled this basin and was just sort of like barely cresting over the edge of this rock whenever it froze.
Mm-hmm.
The room is quite large. There's low ceilings in many places. Like there are places where like even you have to stoop somewhat, but you can see out into a cavern that is, especially with your dark vision, you are looking out into a cavern that is hundreds and hundreds of yards across. Like this was a great body of water. Still is, it's just very cold.
This is not the cavern that we saw, or that I saw in my dream, correct?
No. This looks natural.
Okay.
This is a natural aquifer almost, like an underground pond or an underground river. It's peculiar. If you would like to roll knowledge checks, we can talk about like the geography.
I love you.
Sure. I have a 7.
That was a 9.
Okay. 7 and 9. This is esoteric. It's, underground water feature formation. What's normal, what's not super well studied outside of some very specific academia. So you guys are kind of like, yep, big underground pond or lake or something. I think you have a sense of like, this is unusual, like, but you're not versed enough on the geology of like, how could something like this have formed? Is this the influence of other things about this place? Is this just a thing that happens sometimes? Like you wouldn't know.
Yeah. I do feel like this extended walk, and now that we're like sticking with each other now and we've come onto this new place, I feel like this is an opportunity where we would be like, hey, this reminds me of that time that we went to blank.
What do you say?
Absolutely.
Oh, this is always what I imagined when I read stories. When I read stories about Olton.
Yeah?
Yeah. This is where can't you just see like a whole host of dwarves in here? Can't you just see it?
I guess. I don't know. Don't they do more architecture in their caves?
Okay, that be logical about it.
It does have the grandness of what I know of dwarf cities, I guess. Sort of reminds me of some of the cities I've been in that are gnome cities. Although of course ours has more architecture too. This is obviously natural, but I don't know, there's something different. It's large. My gosh. Speaking of, do we see an outlet from it at all? Like, is there a doorway or a...
So I believe, Skink, your dark vision is like 300 feet or something, and Farah's, yours is...
Oh, I didn't write it down, but I
will
have
check
it up here. My dark vision
120.
is... Why don't I see it? All it says is dark vision. Yes. I don't have a...
Oh, you're on the main page. I have to fix that. It's on the overview page. Yours is 300 feet.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So your dark vision is 300 feet. Farah's is 120 feet. I will tell you that both of you cannot see the far wall of this cavern.
Oh,
No. But I do think that Skink would start messing around and pretending to be a dwarf in Olton.
I love it.
And,
what does that look like?
So, so now that we're thinking about gnomes, okay, Skink would sort of make herself even more into it, like as square and rectangular a shape as she can, and sort of walk in a very square manner, acting like she's heavy when she's totally not, and just starts making grunting sounds like, ha ha, dwarf is here, I am in the dwarf home. And then
dwarf home.
and then turning around to Farah going like, welcome to my dwarf home. Have you brought me any gifts? And just like straight up like goblin stereotype of dwarf.
Farah is lightly chuckling at this.
And is like not taking this seriously anymore. For the moment. Because, again, with my tunnel sense, if I thought there was something in here, I like imagined that I would have noticed. So I like think we're alone and I was like, whatever, it's time to be joking again. I want to have a good time. I'm going to pretend to be a dwarf.
Oh, the DM impulse. Feel like, do I pop a surprise on them or just let them have a nice moment? But I think we'll let you have a nice moment. It's just like, no, you can have good times,
I always
too.
know I'm tempting fate when I decide to goof off in this game.
Yeah. Tempting the GM, really.
Yeah. Like the last time I decided to practice shooting my gun, I remember what happened.
Bears. You begin to cross this frozen lake. It is no question frozen solid, right? Like I'm not gonna like dangle the possibility of thin ice. This is as deep freeze as we can get. You begin to cross this frozen lake. Neither one of you can see the edge. Let me ask you this: do you stick to a wall, or do you try and cross?
Oh no, wall all the way.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Wall
Is
the
there
way.
a shore of the lake that we can identify, or?
You're basically standing on the surface of it.
Okay.
Like this, imagine like a bowl that was frozen solid. You came up over the lip of the bowl and you're just standing on the ice.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would stay.
Okay. You begin to kind of wend your way around toward like the perimeter of this thing. You walk for a good 20 minutes and are still like, you can detect there's like some meandering happening, but you've kept this giant open chamber to your, we'll say, left the entire time and are wrapping your way slowly around. As tunnel sense. I've got to remember tunnel sense.
Mm-hmm. I know when I'm not alone. At the very least, I just know. Does it say?
No,
it's
I'm
inside. And it's inside an enclosed space.
So let's read it off because this is going to be important for this whole adventure. Goblin, tunnel sense. You can always tell whether or not you are alone in an enclosed space, even if you cannot otherwise perceive the creature that is there. This ability does not tell you what kind of creature is present, nor how many, only that there is at least one in the same area with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna tell you that there is a way to interpret this as purely binary, where the fact that Farah and Pip are here means that it is always activated and tells you nothing else.
Oh!
That's valid and also kind of a dick move.
Yep.
So I'm going to rule that Farah and Pip, you know they will still trigger tunnel sense, but you will know if there is anyone besides Farah and Pip as well. I think that's nice.
I feel like that's the generous interpretation.
It's the generous interpretation of being like you're familiar with your party.
Yeah.
Listen, sometimes I sick bears on Marissa, and sometimes I go, okay. I'm not going to be like, there's a spider, so you don't know if there's a Wolverine.
Right, yeah. Or like if there is going to be a bear, like you feel it. You feel the bear.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, well, technically there's microbes in the tunnel, so no, not going to do that. So, 20 minutes circumnavigating the perimeter of this underground lake. Skink, as you kind of come around, you're not even sure quite how far, you do get that sense of like, there's something else moving in kind of this region. Now, I'll clarify a little bit. Tunnel sense is not like infinite range. The second you walked into the mountain, you weren't like, I am aware of every creature in the mountain. Mountains are big.
Right.
But like within the range
space.
you can perceive. Yes.
Yeah. Like, we're in one tunnel. If there's something on like the other side of the wall, it's not like I can hear it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not like, scanning mountain. We'll say Skink stops. You sense something else is in this space with you.
Okay. So I stop. Are we assuming that I was kind of always in front of Farah?
That's up
or
to you
like
guys,
side
yeah.
by side?
I think you would be in front. For one thing, you're traversing more easily, and
Yeah.
your dark vision is further than mine.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So I stop and I put out my hand to just like touch you behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Reach for your hand.
Yeah. And then I turn around
Magnet.
and look at Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, there you are, checking in. And then I turn around and I look at you. I don't say anything, but I just like tap. I want to communicate with you. Oh, I have whisper. I'm just gonna whisper into your mind.
Love it.
I
want to point out that
tell?
the spell whisper just sends a whisper to somebody. You could also just whisper to her.
I know.
She's
but,
being
like,
cautious. She doesn't know if
I
something
just
would hear us.
I don't want anything to hear us. I just want to like
I like it.
psst, like, hey, something is here.
Sarah's gonna nod.
Okay. And then we have to keep going. But I have passed along the message.
Yep. Sure have.
Sure have.
I think at that moment, Farah would conjure armor.
Ooh, okay.
All right.
It's 2 mana, and the sustaining cost is 2.
Okay.
So-
Okay.
Yes. So it would be light armor. Which is 1 plus adds 1 to my armor. It's got absorb 1, and my speed increases by 10 feet.
Yes. It's magic armor, effectively. You're encasing yourself in some enchanter magic.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Skink, anything you're gonna do at the moment?
I think Skink is just mentally rehearsing all the things that like I have on me. I'm like, okay, if I need to shadow meld, like I can go faster in here to reach whatever is out there. If I need to like whip out my skeleton jar, I got it. I can make a little undead chicken. I just like mentally scrolling and feeling through what's going on here. But doesn't have anything like prepped yet.
What is both of your passive perceptions?
1.
Okay.
That's just our precision.
A precision modifier plus 4.
5.
5? Okay. Farah, you actually clock it as you guys are proceeding with caution, looking around. 120-foot dark vision, passive perception of 5 meets the 5 I rolled. You, just at the edge of your vision, see motion. You have dark vision, you can see. You see a spider. Small, like dog-sized, a dog-sized spider.
Okay. Small.
Small for the other spiders that I've thrown at people in Relict.
True.
Can validate. You see a spider biting out at what looks to be a rock. The rock moves, slams into it, and you see a little burst of shattering ice. Another rock moves and slams into the spider. Another rock moves, and you watch the spider succumb under this mound of basketball-sized chunks of rock and ice. They kind of swarm around it almost like ants. As you watch, the spider goes down, the spider dies. I assume direct Skink to look at it as well. You guys watch and see this thing.
I'm gonna tap on her shoulder and point.
You see this kind of unfold. And then you see in the darkness There's a couple of little like bursts of dull blue light. There are now twice as many rocks.
The rocks are eating the spider?
Either of you who would like to roll a knowledge check.
Yeah, we
I love
better.
the knowledge.
7 plus 3, that's a 10.
That is a 10 as well.
I was going to set it at a 10. You beat me to it. That's delightful.
Great.
Both of you, well-traveled. Lots of libraries. Lots of weird critters. Raising dead. All sorts of stuff. Knowing you're going to Osk, knowing you're going north of the mountains, whatever, there are stories of creatures that you might encounter out here. We encountered at a distance a frost siren the other day as part of your trek. You know of a certain kind of like naturally occurring elemental in places suffused with magic of great that are like significantly cold. An interaction that can occur is like certain places can form elementals or a type of animated creature. These are called flurries. Flurry is a little animated bit of ice, magical, like empowered ether infused ice. They're not terribly dangerous alone. The problem is they don't really have an intelligence, but they are attracted like reactively to heat sources that come within their range. And they can duplicate themselves if they find any sort of like dead organic matter. So one-on-one, not very dangerous. If a swarm of them comes upon you, potentially an exponential problem very quickly.
Yeah, it's a big problem for that spider.
Yeah. You don't seem to have been detected by them yet, but they are there in the dark.
They're there.
I would like to. One of my minor enchantments is heat or cool a target object.
Okay. Yeah.
I can cool it down to 33 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
So, can I cool our clothing off to 33 degrees Fahrenheit until we pass them? Does it look like we could feasibly get past them before having cold issues?
Let me look at something.
Maddie, you're so smart.
He gave me too much power as an enchanter. He came up with all these minor enchantments that are super small, and I'm like, these are super useful. Do all sorts of crazy things with these.
Minor enchantment. 1 mana. Without using an enchantment slot. 1 square foot of surface area lasts until your next turn. So we have sort of hand-waved this a little bit for stuff like heating up a water bottle to because if it lasts for a couple of seconds, you get a heat source, you feel more comfortable, your body temperature rises, like that's well and good.
Sure.
In this instance, what you're talking about doing... How much mana do you have?
I have 7.
You have 7 mana. So you can spend potentially all 7 mana. 2, 4, 6. So it'd be 4 rounds is how long you could make that effect last. Because it's supposed to last until the end of your next term. You can upcast it for 2 to add another round.
But I couldn't do both of us.
Yeah, so the surface area is what's killing you on this one. So like a water bottle, we can get around that. For a whole body, it's way more than a square foot.
Wait, can I cool our water bottles off to pour on us?
Potentially, sure.
I don't know if we want to do that. Or, side note, or alternative plan. I can also heat to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I could heat an object to distract them. So,
I did say they are attracted to heat sources, like instinctive.
So I think I'm going to switch gears. What would be...
It seems like there's rocks around. You could heat a rock.
I could heat a rock.
Could literally be any object, yeah.
I would like to heat I'm gonna tap on Skink's shoulder, point to a rock. I want one that I'm gonna whisper. I can heat this rock up and throw it. Do you think throwing it's a good idea?
Yes. I think this is a good idea. I think you should heat that rock, and I think you should throw it far away from us. All right, good.
Creeping up on your ear. Mother. Fly rock.
Okay, how heavy of a rock can Pip hold?
Pip kind of jumps down, scrambles around a little bit. His feathers kind of ruffle up like, it's cold out here. And looks around. Tests a couple out. Like, you see this crow, like, using tools. Like, he's walking around being like... He comes back with this little, like, piece of shale that's, like, not huge. But you see him, he kind of indicates... You're an enchanter, you're a necromancer, whatever. He kind of pulls at one of Skink's, like, rags that you just have. Sort of... Wrap rock.
Okay. All right. So
he doesn't want to burn himself.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the shale. I'm gonna put it on the piece of fabric. I'm gonna minor enchantment, heat it to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and we have to be quick. So I'm gonna quickly bundle it and give it to Pip.
Pip grabs it and just takes off. And you see Pip is a brave bird. He buzzes straight over the spider corpse, like 2 feet above them. These things, for what it's worth, seem to be like yay big, grapefruit basketball sized things. And they just sort of like have little stubby nubbins that they kind of like animate around on, but they're not like reaching and clawing and scrabbling at him. They're just sort of like rock golem creature things.
Wow.
Pip buzzes right through them, like dangling the rock like right over their little noggins. And just banks and heads off into the distance, into the middle of the void chamber. You hear the rock drops and lands, and you hear, mother, call, mother, dark.
It's dark. Can we
Pip.
make a light?
Can you Pip?
Oh man, how do we make a light without? I was like, oh, we should light a match. That will take them right back to us.
You have dark light. You can, dark.
I do have dark light.
Eye of night.
Yes.
You can use Eye of Night to bestow dark vision on a creature.
Well, I should have done that before he left because I have to touch him.
We'll say you would know that.
I can also I can use a minor enchantment to cause a strong odor. He's an animal, right?
Yeah,
he
for
can
sure.
sense that. We moved too fast to realize we had to give him dark vision. So we're gonna
bacon.
Yeah.
There you go.
He comes fluttering back, and you hear him like fluttering up to the wall, and then like he detects you guys. Like,
I think we grab it. I would reach out and grab Pip.
Yeah,
like,
he like
as soon as Pip is close enough,
like, where is mother? And then you guys kind of grab him and like,
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll say some combination of all that.
Now I would bestow the dark vision. Hey, Skink.
Yeah.
Bestow the dark vision.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do now. So that takes 2. Yeah. So Eye of Night is 2 mana. So that gives him 60 feet. That's probably good enough. I mean, I can upcast it, but he's probably not going to go any further than us, right?
Well, we hadn't done it because he was nestled in my coat.
It's true.
Yeah. He's just been napping.
But yeah, he's just been hanging out. Yeah, I'm going to give it to him, just so that he can.
You guys saw. Pip was kind of realized pretty quickly as he left you guys, he was flying blind a little bit. So he was like, oh, I miscalculated. But had the desired effect. You guys saw as soon as he buzzed these things with this hot rock, even as the enchantment fades and it starts to cool back off again, they're reacting to not only the rock, but Pip's body heat as well. It's electric. As soon as he gets within like 100 feet of them, they all immediately go from like dormant, where like they could pass as chunks of rocks, to animated once more and start like marching to him. And as he buzzes by them, they just change directions, like they are locked on. And he flies off, drops the rock, and circles around, and they march in like perfect magnetic attraction towards that rock.
Cool.
Just off into the darkness.
Okay. Well, we're gonna hoof it away from them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You
Now,
guys.
Yeah,
Go
we
ahead.
want to go fast. There's no way I can't. Yeah, I have it with Shadow Meld. I can make myself go faster in the dark, but again, because I feel guilty about having become separated from Farah before, I don't want to.
Aw. Very sweet.
I don't want to.
You
We have
guys
the
scramble.
find object now. Okay.
You guys scramble, booking it, sticking to the wall on one side, the void on the other. You hear these things kind of like coming, and you hear them just sort of like slamming into the rock. Like they're just like, you hear this like, it's like someone has literally taken a bunch of rocks and is just smashing them together. Like that noise of like grinding percussion.
Yeah.
You guys book it past there. You look back, we'll say Farah, you're in the back. You look back and you see that the straggler of the pack literally for a few moments is distracted by what appears to be the residual heat of your footprints. But that quickly fades on this sheet of ice here. So it like literally diverts and like follows from one footprint to the next for a moment until that is faded back towards like ambient temperature. And then it just sort of goes dormant once more. You guys keep going around the perimeter of this thing. How fast are we going?
I mean, I can only go 30 feet per turn, but
Well,
are we going slower? Because
technically you can do 60 if you book it, but I'm more in terms of like, you scoot past these guys. Are you maintaining a fast pace, or are we slowing back down? What's the kind of game plan here?
I would go as fast as we could for as long as we could.
Do you know what the range is? Would we know what the range is for these little guys?
You both got a 10 on your knowledge check. I don't think that is a thing that would be like well documented, but I will say you saw when Pip got within about 100 feet, more or less. That's where they reacted.
And how far away are we? Let's see, a couple rounds.
We'll say you've booked it a couple 100 feet past them.
So like 2 rounds, so like 120. Yeah. Maybe 4 rounds of speed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's say 4 rounds of moving fast.
Moving fast. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You guys scamper on past and then slow back down to a walking pace. You continue to come around and you see the first break in this underground chamber. Another kind of opening tunnel goes off, and you see like the sheet of water kind of, the sheet of frozen ice kind of laps up against it, but does not. There's a slight incline there heading up. It doesn't appear that the ice continues up that slope. We will leave it right there while we take a quick break and we go feed the beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yes.
And consider your next moves.
Excellent.
Every soul in Noxvillar tried to grapple with death in its own way. Some, upon learning that the city in waiting was not their final destination, found a second wind of piety in their unlife, striving to find and more fully embody whatever virtues or vices they thought would guarantee their acceptance in the afterlife of their choice. Others sought to make the most of their time betwixt, delving deep into hobbies, studies, or esoteric pursuits they'd had neither the time nor means to engage with in life. Most simply waited, mourning their demise and hoping for a second chance at life or a hastening of their final passage beyond. Still others found something else. Noxvillar held many wonders. For a certain kind of soul, most of those hid in paradise. Chronicles of the Crossing is an unholy alliance between 4 indie authors, 1 indie game studio, and a heavy metal band to bring you a collection of adventures through purgatory. You can head over to the Backerkit page right now to pledge your support. Obtain any of these 4 amazing novels in paperback, hardcover, or EPUB editions, experience the metal awesomeness of Dia Morte's soundtrack, and pick up the original Black Ballad campaign setting for your tabletop adventures if you didn't get it the first time around. Chronicles of the Crossing is a team of indie creators banding together to do something way above our weight class, and we could really use your support, so head on over and check it out now. So you guys have scampered past these flurries with a...
I also will say, maybe I should save this for later, but like, anytime there is an example, there's like an opportunity for Farrah to just be clever, is like, it's incredible. Like,
Thanks.
This mind, like, you know, there's like so much going on in there that like I wouldn't even know.
I've also sent a picture of the flurries to the chat because I think they're fun.
Cute. They are super fun.
I like it.
That one's got a finger in it.
I like it.
Ew.
Oh, gross.
Too funny. I know they have no lungs. They can't make noise, but I always imagine them just being like, meh, 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 meh. Anyways.
If it had a finger in it, okay. This is not related to anything. Or maybe like you can keep it if you want, but like if there's a finger in it and Pip really took a mind that like this crow wants a finger, could Pip pick that thing apart and get the finger out? I mean, like, Pip obviously, he probably can't perceive that there is a finger in there. I can see it because it's there and you told me it's there. But, like, is there, a universe in which those things get broken open?
That is possible.
Okay.
You would have an old frozen finger. So, you know, what's that worth to you?
Yeah.
But listen, Marissa, I don't know if you know this, but all creatures can be broken open if you hit them hard enough.
Oh,
some of them have fingers. Like,
but does Pip have the strength to do it?
Pip would have to be crafty, I feel like. I would probably still bet on Pip winning the day if he fought a flurry. But I don't think him going in and bashing his head into it is going to be the way to go.
Okay.
They're not soft. He's fighting ice. But he's clever.
Right, but ice chips away, you know? Like, birds peck at things.
I feel like Pip would, like, engineer a fall or drop rocks on it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Straight up crow style.
Yeah,
right. I mean, like, that's what seagulls do. They pick up crabs, they take them really high, they drop them until they break open.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pip's gonna be like, what do I look like? A woodpecker? No. That seems hard, and I am not gonna do that. I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drop this thing, or I'm gonna drop something on it, or, shove it off a cliff and just break it open.
Cool. All right.
Lovely.
That was just a question for you.
Little sidebar. Always good. World building. That's what that is.
I like it.
Okay. You guys scamper past this pack of flurries that are descending on a decoy, a rapidly cooling heated rock. Pip safely tucked away back in his hood, and you find for the first time an opening out of this chamber as you've kind of followed your way around the wall. Would you like to continue on, look for something else, or go explore the opening?
From my dream, do I have a sense of whether that is in the right direction?
From your dream and from your conversation with Ciro, you know the divining pool is up, not at like the peak of the mountain, but quite high on it. And I think it is easy enough for you to know there's no way we've gotten close in like the day that we've been down.
Sure, but
so what I would say is, you've got to go up, and you've got, probably with tunnel sense and Ciro's like blessings and whatnot, a general direction. This is not dead on, like there's no straight line through here. But it's within. Tunnels are tricky because sometimes they can twist down and back around and back up. This, at the very least, the branch is kind of in the direction you feel like you should be going. Whether or not that's the correct path remains to be seen.
Okay.
What do you think? Should we turn in this?
I mean, another part of me wonders, so like there's all these tunnels because someone was in here before us. There's halls because people were in here before us. And people have come out here on expeditions for other things before. And, like I accidentally talked to a mountain spirit, the last time I sort of checked. So there's this like wonder of like, should I just be like dragging a pickaxe along the wall every once in a while? Should I just be like tapping on there to see like, what was in here? Did anybody pull out anything cool? Like I don't really have a strong impulse to want to sit down and like mine for an hour, but if there's like some way that Skink can sort of like pass time. I mean, like we have to eat at some point, right? Like we're gonna get hungry.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Like if we've been going for a few hours, I think we need to have some lunch, and whatever time of day it is. I think we should like eat and maybe like scratch the walls for a little bit.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we should do that in more enclosed tunnel and not in the open space where we know there's little elementals.
For sure. Yeah.
So I think we should turn in here.
Okay. All right.
Turn into this little alcove, this little tunnel here.
Okay.
Are you up for it?
Yeah.
You guys branch out of the frozen lake. The good news is this is not the way you came. It's at the very least new territory for sure. The angle here is slightly upward. It does look to still be a natural tunnel. There are a lot of like stalactites and like features and like geological features and whatnot. You're still kind of like forcing and squeezing and moving, and Pip occasionally has to get out of your hood and like and follow along and then get back in, and as you kind of go through narrower spaces and whatnot, you do kind of find your way around, and this tunnel does seem to be leading, like there's places where you've got to like kind of climb, where it's like a boulder and like a ridge and a cliff and like nothing crazy. You're not like rappelling down, but just sort of like, all right, well, here we are. There's where we've got to go. All right, I'll boost you up. You boost me up. You're making your way through it. It does seem to be heading upwards. And you do get to a point, if you would like to stop, you're in a relatively narrow chamber, kind of the size of like a hallway, let's say, where at the very least, nothing's sneaking up on you.
Yeah.
If you wanted to stop and kind of take stock.
Yeah. Stop. Have some rations. Have some rations. Yeah.
Yes.
At this point, I will say you've been traveling for maybe 6 hours.
Okay. Yeah. We'll be ravenous.
Yeah, we'd be very hungry.
We'd be very, very hungry. I mean, I'm hungry every like 2.5 hours. So
Same. Not actively climbing through tunnels.
Yeah. I think we're probably going to sit down for like an hour to like scarf down some food.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay.
Do you want to scratch at the walls?
I kind of do. I mean, I think, Skeek's going to be real experimental about this. So like at first they're just going to go and like touch the wall, touch with their hand and like feel how hard packed the dirt is, and like scratch a single fingernail at first, and then like look under the nail and see like, is it coming off in clumps? Is it, I mean, Chris, you can tell me a little bit like how hard it's frozen. This is really dense. It's like very dense matter, but like if you scratch granite, that's different than if you scratch, like other kinds of rock. Sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the appropriate mineral composition is for an Arctic mountain. So forgive me,
that's
geology.
Fine. I know, right? Yeah. We didn't do that much research.
You scratch into this wall and like very quickly realize like there's no dirt here. This is rock. This is a formation of like solid rock. The main there's inclusions of like different veins and strata of like maybe different mineral compositions, maybe different colorations. Like there could be some ancient geologic difference in how these mountains formed, and tectonically things smashed together. Like there's inclusions of like different types of rock or variations on a theme, but like you are in a stone tunnel.
Cool.
For
I think
sure.
also, so after doing that, then I'm just like sort of curious. I don't need anything, but I think I'm just gonna again like put both hands against the wall and just like feel into the rock. Like, Zero, are you there? Is this you?
Roll a willpower check for me.
Oh my god.
It's going to be
Six-
high. It's got to be
six-
high. I'm going to tell you that.
6 + 2 is an 8.
You put your will out into the rock, and it is, in fact, rock.
Okay. Okay. So it's a rock. We're in a rock. We're in the mountain. It's rock. That's fine. That's fine. So I just, just pack it up. I think we're just eating. I scratch the rock. I
You
checked.
guys have a strange, quiet lunch deep within this mountain.
I think after 6 hours of climbing, spelunking, essentially, I think it would be one of those meals where you're sitting there and you're both just like dead silent, just eating because you're so hungry and you're tired.
Yeah.
And it's just like real quiet.
Yeah.
Especially
Excellent.
in a mountain. It's like,
Yeah.
Oh, it is. So you guys both have dark vision, which is great for you.
Yeah.
Honey, you and I have been to different caverns and whatever
Mhm.
throughout our travels and like experienced underground darkness where they shut off all the lights.
yeah.
It's weird, folks. I'm going to be real with you. You start hallucinating in about 10 seconds because your brain can't handle having so little
So
visual
little
input.
Yeah.
It's real weird. But you two have dark vision, so you can at the very least see each other and a short distance in either direction. Although in this particular chamber, there's nothing else to see beyond that short distance, even for Farah. Poor Pip is mostly just dozing whenever he can. Like this is, I think you probably still top him up with Eye of Night periodically, so he can at least see what's going on. But yeah, he's kind of just like this. This sucks, but all right. I will say this. You guys have traveled most of like what a comfortable day's excursion is in under these conditions.
Mm-hmm.
You can press on. There's 24 hours in a day. We'll say by the time you're all done, we're approaching 7 or 8. This is arduous and difficult.
Yeah, I wonder if we would start to switch to this like, like alternate sleep schedule where it's like we hiked for 6 hours, we're gonna sleep for 4, like sleep for 4 hours and then get up and then like do it again.
Okay.
So
okay.
I wonder if this is gonna be like long nap, but not full night sleep kind of territory.
Interesting.
I don't know. Put it out there.
Or
you guys tell me what you want to do.
I think we would. I think
I'm going to tell you if you don't have to go to sleep necessarily. If you try and push on at the same pace going forward right now, there's going to be a check involved.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a difficult thing to do.
So I think both of us are underground, like dwellers.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that it would mess up our sleep cycle all that much. I do think we would stop. I do think we would go to sleep. I think we'd sleep for more than 4 hours, though. I think we would probably sleep for like 6, not like a full 8-hour night,
Yeah.
At least this first night, because we like haven't been up as long as we are used to. So I think we would sleep slightly shorter.
There is also there's another consideration here in that you have been told that this route will take less time than climbing the mountain.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Orlo and Tula ostensibly are going to meet you at the top from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
If you push through as fast as humanly possible, you're going to beat them by like a day or 2.
Uh-huh.
Who knows what they come into.
Sure. Yeah, I think we would actually go pretty slowly then.
I think after 6 hours, Lil Goblin is going to go for nap time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But is this where we are now a good place to sleep, or should we find somewhere else?
You guys know where you've come through. You have no idea what's up ahead.
That's true. I don't want to go back, really.
No, this is going up, so I feel like it's going in the general direction of where we need to go. That is a consideration, is that we might get lost, so we don't necessarily want to go super slow.
Right.
That makes sense.
There's going to be an element of risk in this regardless, just because
Sure.
of the unknown.
Sure.
Yeah.
I do think here, can we do a perception check? Precision check for, is this a good area? What does the area around us look like?
Yeah, I will say.
I can tell we're alone.
Yeah, Skin can tell you you're alone right now. I will say you can use a precision to kind of scout the area out a little bit, or you can even do a cleverness if you want to assess what can be done to this area.
Oh.
No, I think precision. I have an idea of what can be done.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? No, I'll go for cleverness.
Okay.
I wonder if
I rolled high.
I wonder if we could block it off. If we could block off our own.
Well, I have that. I was going to
area.
say I have the alarm rune.
Oh, that's right. You have an alarm
That sends
rune.
me a telepathic alert when activated.
Yeah.
So what'd you roll, hun?
I rolled an 11 plus 3.
For cleverness or precision? Cleverness. Okay. You are able to get, you're in kind of a box tunnel right now, right? You're in effectively a hallway is what we said.
Yeah.
Going back the way you came, it gets into a pretty narrow space. Like you guys had to take off your packs and kind of squeeze through. Going up ahead, you're not super sure where everything leads. But there is a relatively narrow kind of corner opening ahead of you is where you'll have to go next. You are able to determine easy enough potentially to barricade or alarm or something where you came. And you also have the enchanter's slate where you could put your denial rune ahead of you and effectively block the passage with it.
I mean, I still have a couple critters that I can make sentient and stand watch.
True.
Also that. If you don't want to use all your stuff all at once, you can have a little guard squirrel.
That's true, and that's adorable. My enchantment slots are only taken up
while the enchantment is active. You can dismiss them later.
Yeah. So once the runes are triggered,
then they're lost.
I can dismiss them, and the enchantment slots come back.
Yes.
So, I think I would choose to do an alarm rune to the back of us. Since we know there's elementals, little guys. Along with a warding rune kind of behind it.
Okay.
So they would come across the alarm rune first and then a warding rune.
Okay.
And then Skink, you could do a little lookout guy, and I can do a second warding rune because I have enough mana and enchantment slots for it. To the other side of us.
Okay.
Okay.
Skink, you want to raise your rotisserie chicken?
I still feel like rotisserie chicken is an attack guy. I'm saving that for attack carcass, attack chicken. And I'd rather have a little watch squirrel.
You do have your one remaining starting carcass.
That's right. I had
games
two.
are weird.
I had two little critters to begin with. I still have one. So the chipmunk has long gone. So I'm gonna animate my little squirrel guy that has been dead in my pockets and bags all this time.
Yep.
You guys fan out. We'll say this is a variation on a practice routine for you. You've traveled together through dangerous areas for many years. Pip kind of posts up in the middle, hanging out. as Skink raises this decrepit roadkill and positions it behind Farah's first rune, and then Farah goes back the way you guys came and sets up one rune and then the other, and you have created this little bubble of relative safety within the depths of Mount Zero.
Cool.
As you guys bed down to take a well-deserved rest, we're going to zoom out through the earth, stone, and ice of Mount Zero, out into the frigid air, the rushing wind. We see Tula and Orlo and Aberith trudging their way up through alongside a icy but not thoroughly frozen churning river that flows steep down like the slope to one side of them, chunks of ice and rock kind of constantly churning within these rapids. They are picking their way through heavy, dark, old pine forest. These deep, almost like alien-looking, dark green, evergreen trees bent down low with the weight of just accumulated snowfall. The air around them is like so muffled with the deadening effect of just feet of snow that have piled up and swirled around for years and years in what we see is a kind of a indentation on the mostly barren mountainside of Mount Zero, but within this little, not valley is the wrong word, but this holler, this gorge area, this wind's leeward side where some protection is offered by the bulk of Zero itself, and some sustenance is available through this river that manages to keep flowing in some part, even in the deepest winter here. This dark forest has survived all of this time in the meager amount of shelter that is available in this place. Hula hikes at the forefront, Orlo looking out to the side, Barry kind of flanking off to the other side. Tula snaps around. What was that? I didn't hear anything. Oh shit, it's back. Here we go, brother! Marissa, I want you to go ahead and roll 3d12s for Tula. Maddie, I want you to go ahead and roll 3d12s for Orlo. I'm going to roll some stuff. I want you to give them to me in order, don't add them up.
Okay.
Here's some ASMR.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right, you've got your results. Hold them for a moment. You're rolling for Tula.
Yeah. It was 10 plus 2 plus 12.
Okay.
So she did roll a 12.
Okay. Honestly, good. Give me... Decide what order you want might, willpower, and fortitude in.
Ah!
Actually, no. Here's what we'll do.
Wait.
That's going to be too complicated. So here's
wait. I mean, I'll pick. I'll do it.
Okay. I'm going to put a little bit of gambling in here, a little bit of mystery.
Okay.
We're doing this Risk rules style. So if you ever played Risk, you roll a dice, your opponent rolls a dice, and you match up the highest result to the highest result, the next result to the next result. And so, like, if I get a 6 and you get a 5, the 6 beats your 5. If you get a 5 and I get a 4, the 5, like the next one down,
okay.
like they
sure.
eliminate each other until you run out of dice.
Yeah.
Doing something like that. But I've rolled 3 dice for each of these checks.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you I rolled a 10. I rolled a 2. I'm not going to tell you what my third one is. You tell me what order you want to put these in. You got a 10, a 2, and a 12, you said?
Yeah.
What order do you want to put them in?
What happens if they are even, like 2 to 2? If she puts the 2 to 2.
Tie goes to the player, right?
I mean, that would be convenient for you. I could certainly see that. If we have a tie, we will do a tiebreaker. So if you do 10 and 2, it's going to be 2 tiebreakers.
Technically, I'm not Tula. You know, like
yeah.
I'm. So tie goes to.
So if you do
I'm
10
not
and
sure
2, we're doing tiebreakers. So they're basically nullified effectively. So
you could do 12 and 2.
So if I do 12-2, then I know those beat them, and then the last one is a mystery.
So 12.
But I could take. I you know what? Sure, I'll take 2. I could take 2 guaranteed wins over 1 possible failure. So 12, 10, and then a gamble.
Okay. Maddie. I rolled a 2 and a 1 and something.
I rolled 8, 5, and 1.
Okay.
So I'm going to put the 5 against the 2.
Okay.
And the 1 against the 1.
Okay. And what's the last one?
8.
Okay. I need 2 tiebreakers from you.
Oh my God. It's a 1 again.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
And next one?
2
tiebreakers for me?
Oh, I needed 2 tiebreakers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my mystery number was also an 8.
Okay. I swear to God if it's another one. Oh, that's a 10.
Okay. I want each of you to roll 1d12.
Uh-huh.
Because I've also rolled for Barry.
I swear to God if you kill Barry.
Oh my God!
I'm not going to kill
Dead
Barry.
to me.
You might kill Barry.
Oh no!
No.
I'm rolling in the pot. It's an 8.
That's a 10.
And we need 1 more from whoever wants to take it.
I don't like this pressure. You go.
Okay, I'll do it. The pot can take it. It's a 2.
Oh no. Oh no.
Barry's going to have 2 mystery numbers. I'm going to tell you the last number I rolled. First one and the second one are mysteries. So you guys got to decide what order you put what in. You've rolled an 8, 10, and 2.
Mm-hmm.
My last number for Barry was a 12. You're gonna lose the last one.
Okay, so put the what did you roll, a 2?
So put the 2 down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we know we're gonna lose that one anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got an 8 and a 10. Which one's first?
Do you want to just do them descending order? 10, 8?
Sure.
Oh.
Okay. We see cutting through the woods. As Tula braces herself, that avatar form twisting and turning reality in on itself, much as you saw her demonstrate before. These eldritch tendrils of twisting wrongness engulf her form. She bellows and draws her weapon. Orlo and Barry are slower to react. What? Turn! An enormous shape comes crashing through the trees, splintering trees to either side. This gigantic, enormous humanoid monstrosity with 4 arms comes swinging through. Boom! We see flashes of stony icy enclosure. This is not a creature of flesh and blood. This is a construct. This is a machine, a mechanism. It comes smashing through. If Orlo and Tula had ever seen the inside of Lady Sive's basement, some familiarity would have been found there, but they do not know what they are facing. Orlo bellows, berserk rage, charges in, great axe swinging, smashes against the leg of this machine. It sparks. Nothing happens. It does not penetrate. Orlo comes back again to smash down one more time. One of the arms spins around the torso of this thing. A whole segment just rotates on its own axis, clubs him and knocks him from his feet, tumbling into the snow. Barry bellows in rage, charges in, attempts to maul. You cannot maul. A statue is also battered down to the side. Tula, calling upon powers eldritch, foul, and beyond the pale, calls down a strike of dark energy and power that twists and shatters. We zoom out to see a shockwave shatter through the trees, snow blasted from branches, birds fluttering into the distance, a sound of wrenching metal and shattering stone. Moments later, Tula stands in the wreckage. Stressed, frantic, looking between a limping Orlo fighting to get back to his feet and an injured Bareth with a mountain ahead of them to climb.
I will never forgive you.
You two wake in your chamber.
Was the blast that Tula brought down big enough to like quake to the interior of the mountain? Or do we think that we're so deep inside and they're like really far off that
I will say
it would have
that
been
is incredibly unlikely, but we can.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll the big ball.
Okay. The big ball. We're gonna
Big
take out the
ball.
big ball.
If this is like a 90 or above, possibly.
Okay.
Really,
Okay.
only with tunnel sense. Like they're quite far from you.
Yeah. And like ground is hard to
That
send
is a 34.
waves. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
No.
things that happen on the
Not
mountain
even close.
Are, the world outside passes unseen.
Correct. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All
we
right.
didn't dream about this either, right?
We
No.
have no idea.
No.
It's like, meanwhile, Sam and Frodo, you know, just like,
Meanwhile, Sam and Frodo.
we have
Uh,
no
Yeah.
idea what's going on
Not
with the
a clue.
rest of the party.
Not a clue.
You awake in your chamber. The wards have held. Nothing has triggered them. Your tiny squirrel stands sentinel.
Okay.
You are able to set off whenever you choose. We'll say that for expediency's sake, you were able to break down the wards, reclaim your enchantment slots with no issues there.
Have like a
that's
little
within your powers.
granola bar for breakfast
Yeah.
Mhm.
and
Ration breakfast.
ration breakfast. And now Squirrel Buddy's coming with us too.
Yeah.
Yay.
How are you proceeding? This is relatively narrow going from here on out. You've had like room to kind of maneuver and jockey from here on out, but leading into now. But this next passage on my little map here is quite a narrow squeeze. Like it will be difficult to pass one another in anything, but single file. What is your marching order? You've got Squirrel, you've got Farah, you've got Skink, you've got a Pip.
Yeah.
I
Deploy
think
as you see fit.
I know I would be behind Skink probably because Skink can see further than I can
Okay.
Yeah.
and has tunnel sense.
Yeah. And I think that my thrall is just sort of going where I want it to go.
Yeah, as long
Right?
as it's within your control radius, you can kind of mentally order it around.
Yeah, then I think I'm just gonna have it go like 3 feet in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's Squirrel, Skink, Farah with Pip in the hood.
Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We advance much as the day before. The going here is slightly easier.
Okay.
This you are not climbing a water slide of black ice.
Great.
There is some scrambling. There are some tight squeezes. There are some places where like, oh, there's a chasm here. I have to like press up against the wall, Indiana Jones style, and shimmy. But nothing overly difficult to traverse.
Okay.
Until you reach a particular span. Let me describe the scene a little bit here. To your left, you've been marching single file all day. This has been you're several hours in once more.
Okay.
To your left, a sheer wall of stone. You've been pressed up against this for quite some time. Just this massive rock formation. You've been picking your way through kind of broken and more sporadic, like stalagmites and like low-hanging stalactites and like low squeezes and boulders and whatnot along this narrow trail. The trail is about 4-5 feet wide in most places. You open up into an area where that trail on the right-hand side is a precipice. It drops off hundreds of feet into darkness beyond your vision.
Okay.
The wall to your left is ending. There is a bit of an overhang on the trail where someone taller than you would have to like duck and crawl under it. Over the chasm, that wall ends, the chasm continues around, like you are kind of at the peninsula here. There is a break in the path. There is a boulder ahead of you that looks to be large and flat. It is kind of the size of like a car. So like it's only like you have to like step across a couple of feet gap to get to that. And then beyond that, there is a wall with an opening further through it. You cannot see it kind of like immediately turns and goes up somewhere else. You are standing in a great big chamber. The roof is, we'll say, like 30 or 40 feet above you. So this wall is ending, and then like all around you is this pit. And then this big stepping stone, which a couple of feet to step across to it. Another like, we'll say 10 feet of airspace to get to like the ledge on the other side. I want to know what you were doing to prepare. I want to know if you opt to try and cross this thing, because your other option is to double back and lose a day. Effectively, you have not seen another path. Or unless you wanted to like climb down and take your chances into the belly of the mountain, going sort of away from where you're trying to go to. If the swirl is still going ahead of you, you like toss him onto the rock. Do you like throw him football style into the ledge on the other side? Because like he could probably jump. Well, he's dead, but we'll say he could probably like hop across a couple of feet. The 10-foot gap's going to be tough.
I say have him test the boulder, because it's like hanging out of a ledge, right?
This boulder, it's more like it is sort of on a structure, like a great stalagmite structure from the pit. So like it has its own column kind of, and it's just sort of got like a flat top. Boulder's the wrong word. It's like a flat top kind of domed stalagmite type thing.
Plateaued.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It looks like it might have like broken a million years ago or something.
Okay.
Oh man, I don't think I have magic for this, unless, because the thing is, like, Farah is 600 pounds.
Yeah.
There's very few things that I can conjure, I think, that would like carry it. Like I was like, can I summon a vulture to like carry me across, like fly me over? But like
I can always try to jump, and I have the sticky minor enchantment.
How much mana do you have, Marissa? Total.
I got 11.
Yeah, no. I was like, Wraith Walk could potentially work, but that's going to be too expensive at this level.
That's too expensive. The best I was thinking was like Grim Pack, the most massive bird imaginable that would like just like talon fly me over.
There are not a lot of birds that can haul off 600 pounds.
That's right. That's
from
right.
A dead stop.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So Farah is heavy. Big girl. So
This is one of these really fun puzzles that I've thrown similar ones in other adventures, and it's like, well, if there's a blank mage in the party, this is a 2-sentence conversation.
Yeah.
When there isn't a blank mage, this is like, oh, this is a huge undertaking.
Question.
Right, yeah, because Wraithwalk is too expensive. I can't use that.
Yes. Fair.
A lance has a 10-foot reach.
Correct.
Right? Okay. I can conjure a giant weapon, correct?
You can.
Or a large weapon in this case.
Yes.
I could also do a great axe. Oh, no, that's only 5 feet. I think the lance is the best one for this.
The lance is definitely the long one.
Okay. So can I conjure a lance and slam it as hard as I can? So I'd have to pop the 2 feet onto the flat top. Stalagmite.
Yes.
And go across and take the lance that I've conjured and slam it as hard as I can across the gap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reach wise. Sorry, go ahead.
The point of this to be that if we fall, we can grab a hold of it. Will it bridge the gap fully? It doesn't go end to end, right?
So a lance's reach is 10 feet.
Is that reach with my arm though?
Usually it is.
Yeah.
I rolled to see kind of what the slack was there. We'll say you can, because ledges are not perfectly even, so like 10 feet is a nominal distance. There are narrower and wider parts.
Do I have large weapons training? Does it matter if I'm using it as a
You
large
can
weapon?
conjure a weapon you're not proficient in. You just
Okay.
get a penalty for using it in combat.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So it's you can still conjure the thing.
Okay.
So here's what I'm going to tell you. I rolled to see if there was enough variation, and like you could find a narrow enough spot where it could technically bridge the gap. That's not the issue.
Mhm.
The issue is for conjure weapons.
Mhm.
The text of the spell is the weapon disintegrates after one round if it leaves your person.
Mm.
So you could bridge the gap with this thing.
Mhm.
And it is a corporeal object. It is, powered by your magic. Skink or the squirrel or whoever could scamper across it. It is a solid, wood-like magical object. The issue is, how does Farah cross?
Right.
Because if you could do it maintaining contact with the lance the entire time, great. If somehow you jostle and are depending on this thing and like use it as a belay for a rope or something, once you're not touching it, it shatters.
Okay. I would like to use it for Skink and the squirrel to get across.
Okay. Skank, that's up to
Safely.
you. Yeah.
I can conjure a smaller pointy thing to jump and try to get the wall. If I can't make it.
Okay. You guys tell me how you would like to proceed.
And I can use my sticky hands.
Your sticky hands. I know.
So I've conjured this thing. I'm
You've
across
got it.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm reaching across. You can use this to kind of like monkey bar across, essentially.
So let me get this visual. So you've got a lance. You're
Yeah.
standing on one side. You've stuck it across. So now you're holding one end and it's stuck on the other end. And we have to like shimmy across
Mhm.
like a little clothesline. All of us.
Yeah.
All right. I do think that I would just put the squirrel and Pip into my stuff and have
Mhm.
like just me go over with them.
Mhm.
And then I mean, I want to hold on to that lance for you, but I know
Okay,
that
do we
there's
have-
not much I'm going to be able to do.
we
here.
have a standard pack, right? So we have
You have rope.
Yeah,
I also
do we have rope? We have rope.
I can
You
also
also
conjure
You also bought like an enhanced kit from Galio that would have like climbing gear and crampons
I can
and stuff. So like there's
also-
other tools available.
I can also conjure a whip.
True.
You can conjure a whip.
A whip.
A whip.
So if I were to get across and then so does the weapon going to disappear? Is that what you just said, Chris?
If
The
I
light's
let
gonna-
go of it.
Once
You let go of
Maddie
it.
lets go of it,
It only lasts
it goes
a round.
away in 6 seconds.
Okay. It's not like I can like reposition it deeper so that you could spin the whip on around it and get over
No.
there. No, you can't do that.
I will also say, so you conjuring a whip is great. You have 50 feet of rope each in your pack.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's
awesome.
really what we should use.
Yeah.
All right, then I think the
I
best.
will also point out there are jumping mechanics in Relict. You spend stamina up, and you can, for 1 stamina, jump under perfect conditions up to a third of your speed. You can spend additional stamina to increase that in increments up to half of your speed. That's under ideal circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
You are jumping from an irregular icy rock to an irregular icy rock neither one of you have touched yet. There's probably going to be some checks involved to make sure you don't fall if you just try and jump it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I will point out, like I said, 10 feet. I'll hold myself to that. Both of you have a speed over 30 feet, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should.
So you could theoretically clear that jump.
No, my
Just
speed
as-
is 25 feet.
So a third of 25 is going to be 8 feet.
Just
So
short
Farah
of 10.
You could spend a bunch of stamina to increase that up to half your speed, which would be 12, you would barely make it. And so we're going to do some checks about that if you go that route. But
if
I
we
want to
have,
point out,
if we have some basic stuff, now that I'm on the other side, could I like jam an ice pick in, wrap the rope around it,
I don't think
send
that's
it
gonna
across?
Strong enough for me.
I know, right?
Is there anything that you can wrap the rope around where I can at least hold on to it while I run and jump? That way, if I do fall,
That's what I'm wondering.
I'll be holding on to something.
Yeah.
So can we look around on the other side where
can I look
Skink
around
is?
for a place to attach rope?
yeah, I will tell you for free if you look a few feet into that tunnel that like kind of leads up away from this chamber.
Yeah.
There look to be places where like a stalactite, a stalagmite have met and formed. There are several of those. So forming like stone pillars and columns like 10, 15 feet into that chamber there.
Okay. Then I think that's what I'm going to have to go do. I'm going to have to like go tie the strongest, securest knot that I can around there, run it back, and then toss the rest of the rope across to Farah.
Okay. I'm going to wrap it around my middle.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So Skink, let me be clear here. Skink is taking a rope, going in to tie it between these pillars here. We'll say you've got 50 feet of rope as a standard pack. Both of you have, so you have 100 feet of rope. Normally, you also bought climbing equipment from Galio. You've probably got a couple 100 feet of rope between you two. Mm-hmm. So if you want to take that and like really wind it through and secure it, you absolutely can do that.
Yeah. And like,
the problem is,
I'm not saying it's like in the bait. I want it not in the middle with the thinnest part, like at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to math that out a little bit. The other thing is the problem is as soon as you step into that room, your tunnel sense goes off. Skink,
Okay.
I need you to make a precision check for me. Your target is 16.
It's going to be 10.
Okay. As you are looking between these pillars, like, okay, I can do something here. Your tunnel sense tingles, spidey sense.
Yeah.
Literally in this case, when a net of sticky webbing blasts down over you, you find yourself stuck to the ground. You are restrained. Your speed is 0. You cannot move without making some checks about it. As you decide what you are about to do, before you can even call out, you hear a voice behind you go, "Hello, little morsel."
Oh no!
And that is where we are going to end episode 12 of the Mix Archive.
Oh no!
Who has Skink found, be they friend, foe?
Little morsel.
Little morsel?
No.
Could be an affectionate term, you never know. I, as always, have been your host and Game Master CD Corrigan. I hope you enjoyed this evening. Before we let you go here, I do need to plug, because I think if I have my timing right, you will be listening to this right about when the Kickstarter for my next novel is coming out. It is called The Memory Thief. It is part of the collection Chronicles of the Crossing. That campaign, Chronicles of the Crossing, is happening on Backerkit starting October 15th. If you are listening between October 15th and November 15th, go back it, get my book, and get 4 other books, or 3 other books, and a game book, and a bunch of other cool stuff, because it's all happening with Storytellers Forge and 3 other authors. This crazy stuff. Go check it out. Cool. That was me. That's CD Corrigan. I've been as always joined by the lovely Miss Maddie Hammett and Marissa Montero. Good
Bye,
night.
y'all.
Ciao. Wherever you are in space
Good
and time,
night.
blah blah blah. Yeah. Bye. I'm bad at sign-offs.
Wow.
Good times. Good times.